On this channel, I try to focus on pursuing lifestyle design surrounding location, time, and financial freedom. Lately, I've been working on just my time freedom because I decided to quit my job to take a gap year off from work to recover from burnout and also to do a reset to figure out exactly how I want to move forward designing life on my own terms. Well, another aspect of that I have been neglecting a bit is health. When I say that, I mean I have been kind of putting getting back into exercising and working out and eating fairly healthy on the back burner. And it's been coming up a lot more frequently lately, especially since now I have a lot more time on my hands and a little bit more energy. One thing that I realized since moving back home and getting into a routine and being able to, wake up a little bit later in the morning, just getting more time to rest. It's definitely, I've realized it is impacting my energy levels in a positive way. And I do have a little bit more energy than I had prior to me moving back home. And one of the things that I keep thinking about is wanting to get back into some sort of exercise routine. Now, some things you should know about me is I actually used to be a very avid weightlifter. I mean, I used to be in the gym 5, 6 days a week at one point. But then over the years, I had toned it down to about 4 times a week on average. And I mean, I was hot and heavy into the gym. I always prioritized health and fitness for quite some time. Then I realized after taking a break for a while, just because work and things kind of got in the way of my schedule and moving around a lot, things of that nature, I just kind of fell off with it. And I tried to get back into it, I would say almost maybe 2.5, almost 3 years ago. And I realized since turning 40, since I'm a little bit older now, but about 3 years ago, after I turned 40, that the things that used to work for me and motivate me to work out aren't the same things that worked out for me that time around. So I try to attack it with the same kind of mentality, like, let me just go hard, go hard or go home type of mentality. Well, ultimately, I just really didn't have the energy and, motivation to work out as hard as I used to. And so I ended up trying to pivot. So I used to just primarily focus on weight training. I did a little cardio, not like a ton of cardio, but I did do a little bit of cardio, but primarily weight training. And then what I ended up trying to do was go from weight training to just more body weight kind of focused workouts or with minimal exercise equipment, not particularly weights, but like resistance bands and exercise balls and like things of that nature. Not like straight up like, you know, machines and dumbbells and kettlebells and stuff like that. So I tried that for a little while and I was able to stick to it. But what frustrated me was that I was looking for the same results by doing that sort of training versus when I was weightlifting, and knowing better, knowing that it wasn't the same type of exercise, but I just felt like I think ultimately I just felt like I wasn't moving enough, like I wasn't working out hard enough to really see a difference. And so that kind of fell off as well. And ultimately I ended up, continuing to work full time, but then I ended up going to school full time, and in between that, studying for IT certifications to further advance my career. In between those three things, and then just living and adulting in a regular world, I just did not have the energy. I didn't have the bandwidth to exercise. I start off with that story because I think what ends up happening, especially with a lot of us women, over 40, especially if you have a family, you work full time, you might be going to school, you might just have a lot of other obligations, you might have children, etc. And it might be something on your mind, like you know that you probably should be doing, doing extra, working out in some shape, working out in some capacity, eating better, and things of that nature. But there's just a lot going on, and you may not have the energy to do so, or just the bandwidth. And also, too, honestly, living a healthy lifestyle is really expensive. And even before the economy was the way that it is now, with everything being extremely high just for the basic food, eggs, don't even get me started on the price of eggs, like simple stuff like that. It was already expensive just having a healthy lifestyle. It's like you get charged a healthy tax with food, when you opt for fresh produce, you know what I mean? When you opt for fresh, meat, poultry, fish, and just stuff that going after the stuff that doesn't come in a box or a can. It's like you get a healthy tax. And that food is always way more expensive than the stuff that's really bad for you. So I understand that. And I do recall at one point, I was able to afford like a personal trainer and, premium gym membership, and I spent a lot of money on food, like a lot of money just to eat clean. So, and then at one point I even was able to afford having a masseuse that would go once a week, just to help with stretching and things of that nature because I was working out so hard and heavy. And understanding that is, all of those things are a luxury ultimately, but eating healthy shouldn't be a luxury. But I do realize that even then, a couple of like years ago, it was healthy back then. And so even greater still now, it's just even more healthy. And honestly, that may be a huge deterrent, from leading a healthier lifestyle, because it's just expensive. It's just expensive. So what I've, tried to do was, and trying to focus on workouts and things that didn't require a gym membership. So basically body weight stuff, things that I can do around the house, or in the backyard or at a park or, wherever I choose where I don't actually need a gym in order to do. And so I had resolved to kind of get into that. But then over the last, I would say, 2 years, I have all of these, had all of these injuries surface, from years of wear and tear. I'm sure it's just residual kind of stuff from years of wear and tear, from my army days and stuff like that. But so getting older and just getting older in general and just dealing with various different types of injuries, it just kind of just deterred me from really trying to go go all in on exercising because again, I'm just that 0 to 100. I'm either like a all or nothing. There's like no happy medium with me. So it's either I'm all the way in or I'm just not gonna do it. And that's not great. Well, a lot of times it doesn't work out, but I say all of that to say today was, I have been thinking about it, especially since moving back home, you know, like at some point I want to start, exercises and doing things, but I'm kind of I'm on a little bit of a budget. I'm not really a huge budgeter, but since moving back home, I'm on, a reduced income and things of that nature. So I'm just a lot more mindful of what I'm spending money on. And one of those things, I don't know that I want to go all in on a gym membership because I'm not sure that I would go frequently enough to make it for it to seem worth it. So I'm still looking into body weight training, body weight exercises, and low impact exercises because I have like a knee injury and a hip injury. I just got a lot of stuff going on. And so one of the things, this came up. This came up a lot today because I've been snacking, y'all. Like I've been snacking a lot. And I'm like, man, my snacking is getting out of control, but I do love a good snack, especially since I've been working on making my space just more cozier and more comfortable. And just snacking is just one of those things that just kind of comes along with the territory. But in any event, I have been thinking about that heavily all day today, and I'm actually considering a lot of different things that I haven't really ever considered before as far as exercise. Just because I'm considering like a lot more low impact um, type of training because the fact of the matter is I'm just getting older and a lot of like I said, a lot of the stuff that used to motivate me just doesn't motivate me anymore. As far as like getting to the gym and like weight training and stuff, I do still understand the importance of, weight training, and I will eventually like to try to work it in, but still like nothing like going to the gym and spending 2 and 3 hours, at the gym doing, getting some kind of workout in with training, with weights and stuff like that. But definitely like some, free weights, dumbbells or whatever. I would like to get into eventually, but some of the things I've been considering is yoga, believe it or not. I've been considering like trying, maybe looking into doing yoga, which I heard can actually be a really good workout, or Pilates. And I know that that's been like a trendy type of thing. But I heard it can actually be a pretty good workout. It's just in the past when I've ever seen it, it just never looked like they were doing doing anything. And this is coming from a mindset of somebody who like was in the gym all the time, lifting weights, was pretty, had a really nice athletic physique at one point. And so yes, but I'm actually considering a lot of that stuff now, in addition to just the traditional functional, training, which is what I always start off with because ultimately that's kind of just like in my exercise DNA. It's just, the basics: push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges, like just, the basic functional things. But also too, you want to know what else? This has been coming up a lot lately, and this is an area that I struggled with a lot when I was, weightlifting, is stretching. Now, I was stretched, but probably not to nearly to the degree that I needed to stretch, which is one of the reasons at one point I actually just had a masseuse to help me like stretch out and stuff because I don't think I wasn't doing it enough, I don't think. And I was just gaining a lot of muscle at one point in time, and so I just enlisted the help of a professional. So I understand that it's super important, but I never really thought about it just stretching just as a function in and of itself. Like I always just thought it was something that I needed to do after physical exercise, but not just for daily, everyday living in life, never really understanding the importance of just stretching for flexibility and mobility. And as I'm getting older, I'm just realizing that, man, I'm just not as flexible as I used to be. And just stuff is just not moving as, it's not moving as freely as it used to. And so I've been looking into stretching and maybe trying to get like a morning routine with stretching going. These are just some of the things that I was just thinking about today. And wonder, like I said, women over 40, you listen, we got to start prioritizing these things just for our future, if nothing else, for our future selves. I think our future selves will thank us a lot for it if we go ahead and start now. And this, I'm not talking about those of you who already, you're in the gym, you're already working out, you know, kudos to you guys, keep doing what you do. But for people like me who, know the importance of it, it's always one of those things that kind of is always in the back of your mind, but you just can't, you know, seem to find the time or the energy or the motivation. Even if it's starting off, like one of the things that I was considering is just even starting off with like mindfulness, maybe taking, even if it's just like 5 or 10 minutes when you first get up in the morning, you know what I mean? And just kind of practicing mindfulness, maybe some sort of meditation. Everything ultimately, I think at the end of the day, everything starts with our mind, mentally, mindset. Even if it's just doing that, I think if any of us spend any amount of time throughout the day watching Netflix or just TV, or lately my latest vice has been playing video games. I've been playing some games on my phone, and I've done a couple of videos about getting into cozy gaming. I've actually started playing a couple of games through Apple Arcade and some cozy games. But stuff like that. I think if we spend any amount of time doing those things, we could probably squeeze in some time, even if it is just the stretching. I think that's one of the things that I really, moving forward, would really like to get into, is just doing morning stretches and evening stretches. You know, and I think that doing stretches and stuff can like double as like not necessarily rest, but just it's not something that requires a lot of mental, like focus and, a lot of brain power is what I'm trying to say. Because I know, like, a lot of times we might just watch Netflix or TV shows or, play games or do random stuff like that as a form of decompression. I think just to kind of just take a break from our day, but I also think that stretching can be one of those things. It's one of those things to help you kind of decompress, and also in the morning, something to help get your body going, get your blood circulating, things of that nature. So I don't know. I think I would like to try at least start off with the stretching, and then trying to figure out fitting in, doing some sort of exercise. Like I said, low impacts, nothing too crazy, nothing too time consuming. When I say like workout, I'm not, not more than 30 minutes. You know what I mean? I think we can find, 30 minutes out of our day to at least, just do something just to get our bodies moving and stuff. I'm just realizing now more than ever, like I can't, well, I realized this a long time ago. I probably realized this probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that I can't really get away with a lot of the stuff that I used to be able to get away with. But also too, I was also very, very extremely active. So it kind of balanced out, but now I'm not nearly as active. Probably hear a motorcycle going by. But I'm not, nearly as active as I was. And ultimately, I've been trying to control like my diet. I slip up, here and there, and I'll get on a little stint where I'm not eating the best, but ultimately I'm super mindful of it, and then I'll kind of do something to kind of reset and get myself back on track. And I've been doing that, but I'm just trying to maintain it just with food. But at the end of the day, like I still know that I need to get my body moving. And just experiencing the injuries that I've experienced over these last 2 years and just thinking maybe it's because I'm not moving. And I think that might also have a lot to do with it too. It's just like because I was so used to exercising, whether it was weightlifting or just moving, just always kind of exercising and moving. And then I kind of just came to a complete halt. And I think that might have a lot to do with, some of the injuries and things that I've experienced over these last couple of years because I don't play sports. I don't, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of this stuff just kind of came up out of the blue, and I just think if we don't continue, especially if we start off super active and you had that routine or you had that habit, is working out is really a habit, just like brushing your teeth or any other thing you do on a regular basis. I think when you go from kind of always having, being active for the most part, for the better part, of your life to like not really doing anything, especially when you have like a sedentary job, which is what I had, you know. And what's so crazy about that is I have always been like super conscious that I need to like move and, exercise and do stuff. And what I ended up doing is once my knee and I had a hip thing going on. So I was trying to just do like walking, I was trying to get minimum 10,000 steps. I was always aiming for like 15,000 steps a day. At one point I was able to hit like 20,000, but that was very short lived because I ended up starting to hurt from walking, and I was like, dang, I can't even I can't even walk now. So it's just been a lot. It's just been a lot of trial and error. But I'm looking into different, different forms of exercise that I haven't really done before. Just a lot more low impact type things. And I encourage if you're thinking about, your health and just wanting to just get better with it and trying to figure out the best way to go about it. I think because society and the trendy stuff is you got to go to the gym. That's everybody's in the gym. You look at people in the gym and they all got their phones and they're spending more time on their phones getting a good angle than actually working out. So I mean, if you do that, hey, do you? But that's just the what is it? The health and fitness industrial complex, right? That's just the image that they push to you the most is you got to be in the gym, you got to go to the gym, right? But just knowing that you don't have to go to the gym in order to get a good workout, like you know what I mean. You could start at home. Even with YouTube, there's tons of fitness channels, with simple at-home workouts and stuff like that. But I've been looking to try to find like some yoga stuff and some like Pilates stuff to see if it seems doable via YouTube or if I'd have to go a different route. But I think I'll be able to find probably some good content out there just to kind of give it a try, and then just with the stretching. So again, I encourage you, if it's something that you've been thinking about, to go ahead, try to carve. Like I said, if you spend any amount of time during the day, watching TV or Netflix, you can stretch while you still got your show on Netflix. You know what I mean? You could sit in, in your living room or wherever, your bedroom, wherever, and, get your stretch on, which is what I, plan on doing for myself. But it was just my rant today about focusing on fitness. Again, just health and, about food. Listen, it is expensive to eat healthy, and that I think is also a big deterrent for some people. Is like, man, I gotta pay this much just for some vegetables when I could get this whole huge meal for that same amount of money. That like, I get it, but ultimately, coming down to like budgeting. I hate using the word budget because I'm not budgeting is just, it's money management. I like to say money management is my way, my go-to term. Just managing your money a little bit better, allocating funds, put some money to the side, to, you know, afford, be able to get the healthier food, you know what I mean? Coupons, which they really don't be having coupons. Like they don't. Rarely the healthy stuff is on sale. Rarely they have coupons. Like it's like everything in this country they do is like they make it difficult. You know what I mean? Unless you just making sure that you just having money to get the healthier food, they're not working with you. All of this stuff is always on sale. It's the stuff that we don't need, right? So I get it. But trying to trying to prioritize eating, healthy, putting the money aside for that, you know, um, I also just think it's important to do. So I get it, I get all aspects of it, but if you can't, start off with the food, at least just get moving, some stretching, some, light workouts or whatever. That's what I've been looking into. That was just like on my mind a lot today. Like I was just really thinking about that a lot because I was just snacking and I was like, well, I'm over here snacking. I need to be doing something. But the way my knee is set up, no, but yeah. So in any event, yeah, we have to prioritize our health. Our future selves will thank us. You know, we're working on lifestyle design, and if we can't fully enjoy each aspect of the life that we are building for ourselves, a better lifestyle that we are building for ourselves, if we aren't healthy enough to enjoy it, then what was it all for, right? So I'll leave you with that. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching my video. And let me know in the comments, have you been thinking about getting, starting a new workout routine? What are some different types of workouts have you been, thinking about? Like I mentioned in this video, Pilates, yoga, at home training. Let me know in the comments what your experience is with that or if you've been thinking about doing the same. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching and take care.